The Birmingham Open had already delivered plenty of drama. Eala battled through rain delays, overcame a tense second-set challenge against Nikola, and survived a tough quarterfinal against Bartunkova Sawanki. Philippine flags filled the stands, chants of Laban echoed around center court, and fans were eagerly anticipating a memorable final. But what happened next stunned everyone. In the moments between the final point and the trophy ceremony, an unexpected scene unfolded that no one could have predicted. The crowd fell silent, cameras captured every second, and within hours the footage was spreading across social media worldwide. Tennis fans everywhere were left asking the same question: what unbelievable moment at the Birmingham Open became the most talked about image of the grass court season? Birmingham, England, June 7, 2026. At the Edgbaston Priory Club, the stage was set for a championship showdown. Eala, the tournament's top seed and the pride of Filipino tennis, stood one win away from her second WTA 125 title. Across the net was Nikola Bartunkova of the Czech Republic, her friend, former doubles partner, and someone with whom she had shared a disappointing first-round doubles exit just days earlier. With 25,000 fans packed into center court, Philippine flags waving throughout the stadium, and passionate chants ringing from every corner, the atmosphere was electric. The stakes were enormous, and the stage was perfectly set for a final that nobody would forget. The opening set was fiercely contested. Eala and Bartunkova traded breaks throughout, with both players showcasing the chemistry and familiarity developed during their brief doubles partnership. Long rallies thrilled the crowd, and neither player was able to establish control. At 5-5, Bartunkova seized the momentum with a crucial break before confidently serving out the set, 7-5. The second set began in troubling fashion for Eala. Bartunkova broke her serve in the opening game and quickly moved ahead, fueling hopes of an upset. The Philippine supporters who had been roaring moments earlier suddenly grew quiet, but Eala refused to back down. Just as she had done throughout the tournament, she responded under pressure. After falling behind early, she broke back immediately and regained her rhythm. From a tight 2-2 scoreline, she raised her level, winning 4 of the next 5 games to claim the second set 6-3 and force a decider. The final set became a true test of resilience. Eala's serve, often questioned in big moments, held firm when it mattered most. She fought off multiple breakpoints, then capitalized on her opportunity to move ahead 4-2. With the finish line in sight, the crowd sensed history was within reach. Yet Bartunkova refused to surrender. The determined Czech battled back from the brink, leveling the score at 5-5 and sending a wave of tension across center court. The Philippine flags that had been celebrating moments earlier fell silent once again. And then everything changed. Birmingham, England, June 7, 2026. Edgbaston Priory Club, center court, 6:15 p.m. What happened next would become the moment everyone remembered. At 5-5 in the deciding set, the match had reached its breaking point. Eala stood at the baseline to serve, the weight of the championship hanging over center court like a held breath. The Philippine flags waved anxiously in the stands. What had begun as celebration had turned into nervous silence across 25,000 spectators. Eala bounced the ball twice, and delivered a solid first serve into the box. Bartunkova read it well and sent back a deep return, immediately stretching the rally into a demanding exchange of 12 shots. Eala saw her opening, stepped forward, and moved into the net with intent. Bartunkova, under pressure, attempted a desperate lob on what could have been a championship-defining point, but the ball drifted just long. Advantage Eala. Then came the moment nobody could have imagined. A sudden movement from the stands broke the rhythm of the final. A figure in a bright orange shirt vaulted over the barrier and sprinted onto center court. Not a ball kid. Not an official. A fan. For a split second, everything froze. Security reacted instantly, chasing the intruder as he darted across the court, weaving between the umpire's chair and the stunned players. The crowd erupted in confusion as cameras locked onto the unfolding chaos. The man reached the net, stopped, and turned toward the stands. Then he pulled off his shirt. Across his chest, written in bold, unmistakable letters, were 4 words: "Alex, marry me." Silence fell for a heartbeat. Then security tackled him to the grass. And just as quickly, the silence shattered. Not with outrage, but with shock, laughter, and disbelief rippling through the stadium. It was the kind of chaotic reaction that comes only when reality becomes stranger than fiction. At the baseline, Eala stood motionless, racket still raised. Her expression caught somewhere between disbelief and confusion as center court descended into chaos around her. Of shock and amusement, Bartunkova doubled over on the far side of the net, laughing despite herself, her earlier intensity dissolving into disbelief. Even the umpire, known for his strict, unshakable demeanor, allowed himself a brief, reluctant smile before regaining composure. Eventually, order returned. The intruder was escorted away through the players' tunnel, still shouting, "I love you, Alex," as the doors closed behind him. Center court was finally clear again, and the match could continue. But nothing felt the same anymore. Birmingham, England, June 7, 2026. Edgbaston Priory Club, Centre Court. 6:18 p.m. For a moment, 25,000 spectators remained frozen in stunned silence, processing what they had just witnessed. The energy that had filled the stadium only minutes earlier had transformed into a strange mix of disbelief and nervous laughter. The Philippine flags, once waving with fierce pride, now hung loosely in the evening air. The chant of Laban had faded into scattered whispers and incredulous reactions. "Did that actually just happen?" one fan asked, still covering her mouth. "I think so," her companion replied, shaking his head slowly. "I think someone just proposed to Alex Eala in the middle of a WTA final." The first fan let out a breathless laugh. "Only in Birmingham." In the commentary booth, even seasoned voices struggled to regain control. "Well, ladies and gentlemen," one commentator began, chuckling in disbelief, "I've been covering tennis for over 30 years. I've seen a lot of things, but I have never seen anything quite like that." A pause. A breath. And somehow we still have a championship point to play. On court, Alex Eala stood at the baseline, still shaking her head slightly, trying to refocus as she prepared to serve for the title. Across the net, Bartunkova wiped a tear of laughter from her eye, nodding as if to say, whatever happens next, they would both remember this moment far longer than the scoreline. Center court leaned forward again. The match was not over yet. Rain delays. Heated arguments with umpires. Rackets smashed in frustration. Fans throwing objects onto the court. The co-commentator tried to list the most chaotic moments tennis had ever seen, but then stopped, still laughing in disbelief. "But I have never," he said, shaking his head, "never seen a marriage proposal during a championship point." A brief pause. And from the look on Alex Eala's face, she hasn't either. The camera cut to Eala at the baseline. She had stepped away for a moment, bouncing the ball in her hand, trying to reset her focus. Her expression carried a rare mix of emotions, amusement, disbelief, and the sharp, disciplined concentration of a player who knew the match was still alive. Across the net, Bartunkova was still laughing, unable to fully recover from what had just unfolded. She caught Eala's eye and gave a small shrug as if to say, "This sport never makes sense, does it?" Eala responded with a faint smile, the first crack in her championship focus. In the umpire's chair, the official regained control of the moment. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced firmly, "please, play will resume. Miss Eala to serve. 15-30. A ripple of applause spread through center court, not just for the tennis, but for the absurdity of everything that had just happened. The tension that had built for nearly 3 hours softened into something lighter, almost joyful. The Philippine flags rose again, waving with renewed energy. The chants returned. "Laban!" echoed once more through the stadium, stronger than before. But something had undeniably changed. The intensity that had defined the final had been interrupted, replaced briefly by disbelief, laughter, and shared human chaos. For a few surreal minutes, everyone in the stadium, players, officials, fans, had been reminded that even at the highest level of sport, unpredictability can break through at any moment. And sometimes, it arrives in the form of a man in an orange shirt with 4 words painted across his chest. June 7, 2026. The clip didn't just spread, it detonated. Within minutes, it was everywhere. Social media, newsrooms, highlight reels. And the tennis world would spend days asking the same question. Did that really just happen? Uploaded within minutes, grainy, shaky footage from multiple angles, yet instantly recognizable. A man in a bright orange shirt sprinting across center court, vaulting barriers and tearing off his shirt to reveal the words "Alex, marry me" painted across his chest. Security guards closing in. The crowd erupting in disbelief and laughter. Within hours, the clip had exploded across the internet. Over 100 million views and counting. The hashtag Birmingham proposal shot to #1 worldwide, trending across the Philippines, the United Kingdom, the United States, Australia, and Canada. What began as a tennis final had transformed into a global viral moment that people far beyond the sport were now talking about. Fans who tuned in for tennis suddenly found themselves sharing the chaos instead. From Manila, one viewer posted, "We were watching as a family, so nervous during the final set. Then suddenly a guy runs onto the court and proposes to Alex Eala. We were laughing for 10 minutes straight. I don't even care who wins anymore. This is the greatest moment I've ever seen in tennis." Another fan wrote, "Only Alex Eala could make someone risk everything to propose during a championship final. That's not tennis anymore. That's a phenomenon." A third added, "You could see her trying not to laugh while serving. She's built different. That's our champion." Memes flooded social media within minutes. The intruder being tackled was edited into paintings, movie scenes, superhero landing poses, and historic war photographs. One viral post showed security dragging him off the court with the caption, "When you realize she's ranked number 37 in your restraining order list." Even official tennis accounts couldn't resist the moment. The Birmingham Open's official page posted a photo of the empty center court with a simple caption, "We've seen a lot, but not this." Sports broadcasters replayed the clip on loop. News outlets labeled it everything from the most surreal moment in tennis history to the proposal that broke the internet. Commentators revisited the footage again and again, still struggling to believe it had happened during a championship point. And through all of it, the match itself, paused, resumed, and remembered, had already become secondary to the moment that stole the world's attention. Because for a few extraordinary minutes in Birmingham, tennis wasn't just sport. It was spectacle, chaos, and unintended comedy, watched live by millions and replayed endlessly by the rest of the world. Seen a lot of unforgettable moments at Edgbaston Priory Club, but this one might go down as the most unforgettable of all. Hashtag Birmingham proposal. Alex Eala's own response came about an hour after the final, after she had completed a hard-fought victory, 5-7, 6-3, 7-5, to secure her second W125 title. Moments after lifting the trophy, she posted a photo holding it high above her head with a simple caption, "I said no to the proposal but yes to the trophy. Laban." Within hours, the post had surpassed 5 million likes, quickly becoming one of her most liked updates of the season. Fans flooded the comments, celebrating not only her victory, but the surreal storyline that had overshadowed the final's biggest stage. The identity of the intruder was never officially revealed, but his brief sprint across center court became part of Birmingham Open folklore, an anecdote destined to be retold long after the tournament itself faded into memory. Birmingham, England, June 8, 2026. The morning after. The confetti had been swept away. The stands were empty. Center court, so recently alive with noise, tension, and disbelief, now sat in quiet stillness under a soft morning light. The echo of the previous day lingered in the air like a story still being processed. For Alex Eala, the interruption could have become a turning point, a distraction at the worst possible moment. Instead, it became fuel. After the chaos settled, she refocused, held her nerve, and closed out the final 2 games to claim the championship. When she finally lifted the trophy, her expression carried the same calm determination that had defined her entire tournament run. At the post-match press conference, she laughed as she reflected on the moment. "I've never experienced anything like that," she said, still smiling. "I was trying so hard to stay focused, but when he took off his shirt and I saw what it said, I almost lost it." She paused, shaking her head with a grin. "I'm flattered, but I'm focused on tennis right now. Sorry, mystery man." And just like that, the Birmingham Open joined the list of tournaments remembered not only for its tennis, but for something far stranger. The quality of the final, the energy of the crowd, the rise of a champion, and the moment a man in an orange shirt turned a championship point into one of the most viral scenes the sport had ever seen, and proposed to the champion. In its own strange way, that single moment came to define the entire tournament. Tennis is a serious sport. The players are serious athletes. The stakes are high, the pressure is constant, and every point can change everything. But every so often, something unexpected cuts through all of that intensity, something so absurd, so human, that it reminds everyone why they fell in love with the game in the first place. The joy, the chaos, the unpredictability, and in Birmingham it all collided at once. Laban always, one fan joked online. And maybe next time she'll say yes. Unbelievable scenes at the Birmingham Open. The crowd left stunned